You are holding yourself back in life right now, and this is the reason why. And let me tell you what it doesn't have to do with. It's not that you don't have enough information. It's not that you don't have enough of a plan. It's not that you've had too much trauma. It's not that you have ADHD. It's not what your parents said about you. It really doesn't have to do with any of that. What it has to do with is your ability to deal with fear, pain, uncertainty, and doubt in your body, and to develop an identity that actually serves where you want to go. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what's happening with all of that, how you can fix it, and give you a clear, actionable plan that you can apply to your life right now. I'm Jason Krause, by the way. I lead the Flow Code, which is a mastermind for high-performing individuals who want more meaning, more purpose, and more fulfillment in their life. I am the creator behind the Peak Tennis YouTube channel, the fastest growing tennis channel on YouTube. And before all this, I was part of a venture-backed startup where I was a founding member of the sales team, and I was part of a team of 20 that had an 8-figure exit. And I did all of this despite having the most limitations. Been diagnosed with ADHD, I've had severe depression and anxiety throughout my life. I had a lot of familial trauma growing up in a broken home. I've had my struggles with the law. I've battled addiction of various types. And so what I'm going to share with you today comes from my experience as a mentor, but also my experience just in my own personal life, applying these tools, applying these understandings to live a better life. And if there's one thing that I know of working with so many different types of people in so many different types of situations, is that we really don't know what we're capable of. You don't really know what you're capable of. I know that you're capable of so much more. I know that you're only scratching the surface of your potential. And my vision is that today's video actually helps you start to step into that powerfully today and lays the groundwork for you to do so in the future. The first thing we need to do is understand the role of your subconscious mind. Now, your subconscious mind is responsible for 97% of the life that you live and the life that you have. If you look around you, if you look at the people, the relationships, the amount of money, the amount of purpose, the amount of meaning, the amount of fulfillment, the emotions that you're experiencing on a daily basis, the thoughts that you're having on a daily basis, these are all part of your subconscious reality. Your conscious mind might decide which food do I want to eat, which show I might want to watch on Netflix, which video I want to watch, but so much of your life is being determined by your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind develops through repetition. What happens is that anytime you live through an event, your subconscious mind deems that event to be safe. Now, it doesn't matter how much you enjoy that event. It doesn't matter if that event doesn't feel safe. It doesn't matter how much you don't actually like that event. You will continue to put yourself in those types of situations because it feels safe, because it feels familiar, and because you've lived through it before. So you might not feel like you have enough money. You might not feel like you have enough time. You might not feel like you have enough connection, enough love, enough space in your life to do the things that you really want to do, enough energy to do the things that you really want to do. But the truth is, those are just states of being, states of perception that are deemed safe by your subconscious mind. My guess is that you've been having these feelings for quite some time, and my guess is that you witness these types of feelings in your life from your parents, from your caregivers, from the people around you growing up. This was an experience that is relatively familiar. And to put this into perspective, I want to talk about, I'm here in San Diego, and sometimes we have these little lizards that run around here. And I love that I speak about lizard brain all the time. And sometimes these little lizards would come up close to me, and I'm like a friendly guy, right? I'd love to hang out with these little lizards and, just see what's up, maybe let them crawl on me or something. And every time they kind of come close, and I'll just be patient and wait. But if I move at all, they'll run away, right? And the idea is that they're programmed to be afraid of that which they don't know. They don't know that I'm actually a super friendly guy, that I love little lizards, that I'd love to have a couple lizard friends and have a good time together. But they don't know that. They haven't lived through that experience with me before. And so what their subconscious mind does, what their brain does, is move them away for anything that they perceive as a threat. Now, you are doing the same thing in your life. you are avoiding, just like that lizard, the things that you don't know to be safe. Even if it's the exact thing that you really want, even if it's the relationship that you really want, even if it's starting the business that you really want, even if it's finding some level of fulfillment, even if it's starting some new hobby, even if it's putting your thoughts out there on social media. Those are the types of things where you, if you don't understand your subconscious mind, will steer away from the same way that that lizard does. And it can be really important to understand this, because once you understand it, it helps put into context, why is this happening to me? Why do I keep self-sabotaging? Why do I keep taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back? It is because of your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is wired for safety, which means familiarity, which means I've lived through it before. So in order to create a life that you haven't lived before, we're going to have to understand that it's going to feel like a lizard who's going up to someone who might kill it. And that's the truth about this learning and growth process. That's the truth about expansion, is that it can feel that scary. It can feel like a matter of life or death. In a lot of ways, that is your sign that you're going the right direction. The good news is that in our life, we're not often faced with matters of life or death. It might feel like that. It might feel like a matter of life or death. But the good news is we're not having to jump into a river of alligators just to create amazing content, whatever it is, or to build a business, or to do something with meaning or purpose. The fears that we have are by and large psychological. They are subconscious, but they're not actual threats to our physical well-being. The second point that you need to understand is that you can have an intellectual understanding of all this. You can hear what I'm saying and you can nod, but if you don't actually put processes in place to stretch your comfort, to step into something new, to step into something different, to step into the thing that you're afraid of, you will just hear this information and it'll be just another realm of things that you use to get stuck, to intellectualize, to overthink. And so the really important piece here is that you understand that the most important type of learning that we can have is experiential learning. A great example of experiential learning comes from the movie Karate Kid. If you haven't seen it, there's a main character named Daniel, and Daniel is in high school and he gets attacked by a group of bullies who are using karate on him to essentially beat him up and bully him. And he's saved by this elderly man named Mr. Miyagi, who uses karate to fend off all of these would-be attackers. And Daniel goes to Mr. Miyagi and he says, "Would you please teach me karate?" He says, "Sure, show up at my place." So he shows up at his place, and rather than teach him karate, he basically gives him a bunch of chores to do. And Daniel's okay with it at first, and after weeks of scrubbing the floors, waxing on, waxing off, painting the fence, doing all these things, he's sort of getting frustrated. Like, when am I going to actually learn karate? And Mr. Miyagi is, of course, mum and just kind of has him keep doing it, fixing his technique, allowing him to do the motions over and over again. What happens then next is very interesting. Daniel is attacked by those same group of bullies, and he actually finds himself using the moves that have been ingrained into his system by Mr. Miyagi. This is the same way that you need to learn how to live a different life. You need to become the lizard who, when you get afraid, you immediately start moving into action. You immediately start moving in the direction of your fear. This is the path, this is the process for you that you need to ingrain. And there are a ton of other tools too that we're going to get into later, but I just wanted to start out with that. You need to have an experiential understanding of the tools of transformation. You need to have an experiential understanding of what it's like to move through fear, to move through discomfort, to move through uncertainty, and to step into something even when you don't know exactly how it's going to work out. Point number 3, we need to understand the role of healing in this process. So there are a lot of beautiful healing modalities out there. One of the ones I really like is in the realm of parts work or internal family systems. And this is often just the process of getting to know the feelings and sensations that you have within your body, meeting them with love, warmth, and curiosity rather than resistance, understanding what sort of messages they have within inside of them, taking those messages and applying them to your current situation, and moving forward. So rather than resisting the fear, rather than resisting the discomfort, it is meeting the discomfort, it's welcoming the discomfort, it's treating it with a playful, warm smile, saying, thank you for being here. I understand you're trying to keep me safe. And then from that place, actually taking action. Now, one of the things I see people tend to get really wrong when they start doing a lot of healing work is they start using healing as an escape to actually avoid the discomfort. So let's just say, for example, you're feeling uncomfortable about cold calling for your business, or you're feeling uncomfortable about posting on social media, putting your thoughts out there about a thing that's happening. Well, what you might do if you've gone down this healing route is you might do some breath work, you might do some healing practices, and you might actually remove yourself entirely from the thing that you're afraid of. And now you've created this regulated nervous system, you've created this grounded nervous system, so you actually feel better, but you didn't do the thing in the real world that helps create sustainable results for you, right? Because your nervous system might be dysregulated because you don't have the business that you want. You don't have the level of impact that you want. You know you want to build something, but it's not quite happening for you yet. And your nervous system is feeling dysregulated. It's feeling uncomfortable about that process. Well, if you just heal your nervous system in that moment, but you don't actually put the practice into place and take new action as a result of that, you are going to keep finding yourself having to do the same nervous system work over and over and over again. And I love nervous system work. I love the healing process. I love coming from a place of love, warmth, compassion, curiosity, acceptance within ourselves, because I think it is the most effective path for sustainably putting yourself in action. But if it's missing that last piece, if you're just loving on yourself and then telling yourself it's okay to then just go back and start scrolling, or just go back and start doing the things that don't make the biggest difference for you and your life, you are kidding yourself. So do the healing, do the loving, do the curiosity, do the meeting, do the warmth, do the compassion, all that good stuff within the things that are happening within you. But put it into action. The fourth thing you need to understand is this idea of identity and how it plays a role in actually shifting the conditions and circumstances of your life. People that aren't able to break out of the situations that they're in, they live based on the situation that they're in. They live based on the circumstances that they're currently facing. They don't have the things that they want yet, so they don't act in accordance as if they already had them. Let me give you a perfect example of this. When I first started working with my mentor, Julian, I was working in a Silicon Valley startup. A team of 20 people. It was a super high impact, high growth startup. And there was a lot of work going on, a lot of things going on. And Julian asked me if I had a task management system. And I said, no, I don't really have a task management system because I am not in a role, like the tasks that I have to do during a given day are actually pretty simple. Like I just log into this, I do these things over here, I log into that. And he asked me this a few times over the course of several months. And what he was realizing was that in the stories I was telling him about the problems that I was facing at work was actually a task management system would have been the perfect solution for. But really what he was getting at was I told him I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I told him that I wanted to build my own businesses. And if I didn't learn the task management system at that time, I was never going to step into the world where I actually was an entrepreneur. So what happened was I took him on. I started learning the task management system. I started to be much more productive at work. I started to have a lot more space. I could actually handle a lot more. And within a matter of months, my company ended up getting acquired, and I had all this time and space to fill it in building a new business and becoming an entrepreneur for the first time in my life and having that be my full-time job. And so that process was an example of, if I had stayed in the identity of I'm not the thing yet, I don't have the life yet, I don't have the circumstances yet to be able to apply this particular skill or to do this particular thing, then I would have stayed in that circumstance for theoretically forever, who knows, right? So the idea is Where in your life are you delaying shifting your behavior because the circumstances haven't shifted yet? And I want to talk about a couple of ways, a couple of the most common things I see within this. The first is the scarcity mentality. And a lot of us are familiar with the idea of scarcity mentality when it comes to finances. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. But scarcity mentality actually expands so far beyond that. It expands into any time you say, I don't have enough anything. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I've got too much on my plate. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough community. I don't have enough focus. I don't have enough opportunities. Anytime in your life you are saying, I don't have enough, you are communicating scarcity mentality. You are vibrating at scarcity mentality frequency. And what this does, again, when we're talking about identity, is it creates the identity of you are the person that is vibrating at that level. And that's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that is creating the results that you're having, because when you say those types of things, you're going to have a life that looks like what you currently have. So ask yourself this: where am I using scarcity mentality? Where am I using my current circumstances as an excuse to define my actions, to define my behaviors, and to define my beliefs? The second piece that I see with identity is around willingness to step into fear, willingness to step into discomfort, and willingness to step into uncertainty. Humans are wired to fear embarrassment more than we fear death. And so much of what is holding you back right now is the way that you've created an identity around your fears. You give yourself credit, you keep yourself stuck, you don't even worry about it. You make excuses, you tell yourself this, that, and the other thing. I'll figure that out first, I'll do this other thing. You will make excuses to keep yourself from stepping into the most uncomfortable things. So I'll give you an example about how I've done this personally. A few years ago, I used to only do one-on-one coaching, and it was this really awesome thing. I really enjoyed it. It was really easy for me. It was really valuable for the people I was working with. It just came very naturally to me. And I had this idea of doing something for a group. I had this idea of doing group coaching. And yet the idea of getting people gathered together in a group was absolutely terrifying to me. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I had these huge fears that no one was going to show up, that I was going to be completely embarrassed, that one person was going to show up, two people were going to show up, and they would think that I was some loser idiot who's like trying to teach people stuff that nobody cares about. And I played this over and over and over in my mind for months at a time. And I felt this stuckness. I felt so terrible as all of this was happening, because I knew it was the next step for my growth as a person, for my growth within my business, and for the level of impact that I could have on people. And so when it finally came time to actually sit down and schedule the first group coaching call and invite people to it, I was not only terrified, I felt sick to my stomach. I literally felt like I was going to throw up the entire time leading up to the event. And then of course, 5-10 minutes in, I was like, oh, this is so fun. I'm having so much fun doing this. I don't know exactly how to handle this situation, or I don't know exactly how to handle that situation, but I'm going to learn, or I'm going to try this out next time. And what it taught me was that these feelings that we have, these feelings of fear, anticipation, nervousness, anxiety about a thing that hasn't existed, are the things that are holding me back. Like, there was no reason I needed to wait 6 months before finally starting my group coaching program. I could have done that 6 months ago and I would be so much further along. And of course, in the realm of I don't have regrets, all of that good stuff, but these are the same types of things that you're doing now. We only have a finite time here on earth. We only have a finite amount of time here in this lifetime, as far as I can gather, right? And so how do you want to spend that time? Personally, I think it's most fun, most enjoyable, most exciting, spending it being in flow, moving through the bold things, moving through the hard things, stepping into uncertainty, stepping into discomfort, because what I've learned is that we're going to suffer either way. We're either going to suffer from the pain of doing nothing, from the pain of never knowing, from the pain of the what ifs, the coulda, woulda, shouldas, and the pain of stagnancy. Or we're going to suffer from the pain of, man, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know what people are going to think. I don't know what people are going to say, but I'm doing it anyway, and I'm going to figure that out. Because that life to me, yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to hurt. It's going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to create such a better life than the first one for me personally. And I imagine for you too, because it's common across everybody that I see and everybody they work with, is when you get to this point where you're like, I know what life looks like if I just play small, if I don't take the action, if I keep being held prisoner by my doubts. We have a pretty good sense of what that life looks like, do we not? And so it's going to hurt either way. It's going to be scary either way. It's going to be uncomfortable either way. One is the long, slow death, and one is the rip the Band-Aid off. All right, I'm doing the thing. I'm jumping in. Let's go. I'm going feet first. Come on. I got this thing. Because the more you do that, the more you will create the life that you really want, because so few people are actually willing to do that consistently. So make it a part of your identity. Okay, make what we're talking about today a part of your identity. Ask yourself, what situation is most uncomfortable for me right now? What beliefs, actions, and habits are directly correlated to that current experience? And what are the beliefs, actions, and habits of the person who's easily able to conquer and solve this problem? What are those things? List them out on a piece of paper and start doing them. And look, I understand that if you're in a tough financial situation and you want to be a billionaire, that maybe booking a private flight tomorrow isn't the move, right? I want to understand that there's some level of weaving this into your current experience. But that's why I give you the chance to write out a ton of different options, right? So you can write out, what are the 20 things that you would do differently if your current situation would be solved? And maybe somewhere on that list you can actually get started on today. Because this leads to point number 5, which is start doing stuff. Start taking bold action, even if you don't know exactly how it's going to work out, even if you don't know if you're taking the right action. Taking any action is what leads to clarity. The more you act, the more you step into things, the more clear you will get. We fall into this trap where, because we don't know what to do, we freeze and we play small and we get stuck. And what we're looking for in those situations is we're looking for some answer to magically come so that we can get back into action. But the truth is, the way we get back into action is not by waiting, it's just by doing. It's by doing something. Do something. Do it from the right place. We talked about healing, but just do something. Take the action. Notice where you're getting afraid. Notice where you're getting stuck. Notice where you're getting fearful, and just dive in. Do it over and over and over and over and over again. Come back to this video as many times as you want. And if you're looking for more information on how to join that mastermind that I spoke about earlier, the Flow Code, check out the link in the description. I'll send you a link to the application. Love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Go out there and do it. Love you.